Welcome everyone to Socks Out Racing as we recap Race 1 at Charlotte Motor Speedway Road Course. This happened on June 20th, 2015. The weather for the race was a bit hot with a temperature of 86 degrees and a northwest wind at 8 miles an hour. It led to a very slick track surface. Strength of field for the race was a 2074 and our top qualifier was number 78 Ironam with a 124.240. As we get all the cars all gridded up for the race, you can see Ironam sitting there on the inside with his teammate Johan sitting on the outside of him. As we get this race underway, you can see the 8, the 92, and the 17 all got a little bit loose there at the start, just to give you an idea on how slick this track surface is. It became very taxing throughout the entire race for the drivers just to be attentive when they were running in traffic. So you can see our first battle just starting to develop very early on. The 92 is just going after the 8. You'd think it's last lap at this point, but just going out guns blazing and really just putting the best foot forward, trying to see what positions he can gain. As we come through Redneck Hill and approaching the high-speed banking, it was very apparent in practice the banking is very crucial and a very big strategy point for these cars at this particular venue, because the speedway section of this particular layout is very long. So there's different ways you can play it, and the biggest concern that was found during practice is if you pass too early on the banking section, the person you pass could draft back and pass you again before the start finish line. So it was kind of a wait for that right time and don't gain your momentum too fast, otherwise it could backfire on you at the end of the lap. So we got the 92 here using the draft to get to the outside of the 8, but 8 brakes a little bit early. 92 just can't quite get it stopped, and a little bit of contact there early on. That's one of the risks of pushing the car really hard in the opening laps, is sometimes something like that could happen, and could potentially ruin the outcome of your race. Maybe not immediately, but over time. You see the 92 there now starting to give the 8 a little bit of room. Not quite sure if that was intentional or just due to the impact and some of the things there. And the 17 got a little sideways. Going over Redneck Hill, again, a very trying turn and a very telling turn on just how well the car is set in the corner and how well the car is set up. You go from a very easy turn to understeer to a very easy to oversteer situation. So very telling, and a big area that you see common mistakes made, and you'll actually see a few of them here during the race. The 8 and the 92 continue to battle it out. Again, the 92 trying to use the draft, figure out a good line and a good position. You see him there just taking the outside, seeing if he can get just that little bit of a peak as they go down the back straight, but it's not very advantageous, as you would think, being able to slingshot on the outside. He does get a little bit of a run, but he's able to get back to the inside before they enter turn 1. Through turn 2, the 92 just trying to tuck back in to prevent losing any more ground at the 68 behind him as the 68 closes in. So this initial two-way battle for third is quite quickly turning into a three-way battle as the 68 jumps up and the 17 is not far behind. Going into Redneck Hill here, you can see all the cars just jumping on the brakes. Ooh, the 8 jumped in Redneck Hill just a little bit tight, and the 92's making way here as we're coming up towards the banking again. And the 17 seems to be following the outside line as well, but I don't think it worked out as well for him. You got the 68 there running on the low. The 17, despite having been a little slower out of the onto the banking, was definitely carried more momentum, and it paid off as he makes an easy pass on the 68 car. Jumping back down to the draft, he's reeling in the 8. And this really gives you an idea on how powerful the draft is here for the MX-5. just in the course, he's not only got one position, oh, and he's looking to the inside. Will he take it? He is going for the inside, but too hard on the brakes and overusing the tires on this very slick surface. That was almost very bad. Good driving there by the 92, being aware of the situation and taking that tight and slowing down a little bit, taking that inside line, and really just waiting it out and getting that position back with very minimal of an incident that could have been a lot worse. So just great driving there. We're again riding with the 8 car as he looks to regain that position, that 3rd place spot. The banking again, it's one of those spots. If you fall off of the banking or fall out of the draft before you get on the banking, it doesn't really have a like an advantage. But if you're not quite far enough ahead, so where the driver behind you can get a little bit of your draft, it will start reeling that gap in, which made the racing very interesting. If you cannot put enough gap from turn 1, the exit of turn 1, until we get back onto the banking. So on lap 5, ooh, the 8 almost repaid the 92 for the dent earlier on. But it's probably wise not repaying that kind of favor, because with a track with such a high speed, any kind of front end damage might be detrimental on the banking. Oh, and there's the 555 driven by Giuseppe rejoining the field, and even though he's a few laps down, he's really trying to make up some of that lost time. He didn't get a chance to qualify. He barely made it to the track in time for the race, so we're glad to have him. A little bit of rough luck at the beginning of the race, downshifting, but that's more likely due to missing the warm-up and qualifying session. That's just to give you an idea on how important practicing before the race is. Whether you're running with us or just running an official series or in another league, practice is paramount. The more track time you have, the less chance of very easy mistakes to be prevented. Now the 00 is Mr. Horsley, and he ran with us for many years back on Forza, and he's just now joined us on iRacing, so we're glad to have him. This week he was running with a controller, leaving things a bit tight, but next week he should have a wheel and really be in a contender. As we start lap 6, you can see the 68's really reeled in the 8 as they go into turn 2, and we got the 92 now developing quite a nice lead, but it gets sideways, just straight foxing it through the turn 3, but too hard. Spins it going before turn 4, thankfully keeping the car off the track and not too bad into the wall. So I think he was able to get back running. You can see him there in the back getting the car back underway, so not as bad as it could have been. Just superb driving again by the 92 in terms of recovery. So 8 again regains back that 3rd position, and the 68 is just looking for it. Dropping back to the 92 though, he's still a little bit off on rhythm as he goes over redneck hill and he gets that understeer. It really opens the door for Horsley to go around on the outside as they approach the banking, and again, getting on that banking at the highest speed possible is so important. It gives Horsley a nice pass there to move up to 6th place. So as we look in here on the banking, you can really see the difference between driving with a controller and versus driving with the wheel. You can see Horsley just sitting there kind of going a little bit left and right on the banking corners, just because it's really hard just to hold the joystick just so going around, versus a wheel it's very easy to keep steady. So can you run iRacing with a controller? The short answer is yes. Is it recommended? No. So it's something you can do until you get your wheel, but ultimately you do need a wheel to run competitive. So as we go into lap 7, the 92 has very quickly reeled back in the 00. And again, probably the biggest thing here is interface. The wheel is just that much better than the controller, and it really can provide almost a misjudgment on driver skill, because with the controller you're so limited on range of motion. So the 92 jumps to the inside, and the 00 runs way too wide and can't bring the car back into turn, and goes a bit on an off-road excursion there. Meanwhile, further up in lap 8, the 68 car still chasing the 8 and getting a little bit wide and falls prey to the same turn. As we mentioned earlier, Redneck Hill is very hard turn to get around and quite easy to make a mistake. It wasn't until lap 14 that the 68 car driven by Mulder was able to catch back up to the 4th position, and currently is running in 17 with Steve sitting there. Now these two, as I mentioned earlier, run together for quite some time. They've been battling it out for years, and lap 16 they're still just keeping that fire going. The trouble is, when you run with someone so long, it becomes very easy to plan them out. And so, but it's also an advantage because you know what the other guy's going to do. As we come to lap 18, this is where things get interesting. They've battled it out since lap 14. Mulder's been looking for a spot to pass. Goes wide here at the banking, then he tucks back underneath, gets in the draft late, and then slingshots around to grab the inside coming down the front straight at the beginning of lap 19, dives hard on the brakes, takes it through for turn 1. The number 17 car goes a little wide, but is able to keep it together, and they enter the infield, and 68 now takes 4th place. Just a wonderful pass there by Mulder. That's kind of going back to the, you wait it out, you look for a good spot, and then you set the trap. And that's exactly what he did there, and just that was a textbook pass for the circuit. Coming back down onto the banking, you can see the 17 car getting a bit sideways. The tires are starting to give at this point. 17's always been known to drive a little bit more on throttle than everybody else. The lap 20, the 17 was able to reel it in a little bit, but then we have the 8 car driven by Mark. He's experienced a little bit of trouble. He's running out of fuel. Mark tried to gamble early on, running 3.2 gallons here for the 30-minute race. Thought it would be okay, and it turned out under race conditions a little shy on the fuel, and just slows down a bit, lets the 68 and the 17 go by. It's just kind of a hard spot to let competing drivers through. But it slowed down 68 enough for 17 just to catch back up enough to make another chance at taking that position away. So now the 68's in 3rd and the 17's in 4th. Mark's sitting there in 5th and just kind of limping back to pit row. 17's looking to the outside, got a little bit of draft and momentum. They run side by side down the back straight. Now, it's one of those things that can be good, can be bad. Looks like Fox is going to try to run down on the oval to get a little extra speed there, and they're just not enough. He's stuck on the outside, not quite able to keep the momentum down. Still running hard though, and the 68 just sitting there, holding him on the inside. 17 going for a crossover, but 68 holds it. Go through turn 2. 68 keeps the door shut. And as they enter turn 3, 17's looking, but just nothing there. Turn 4, again, just a turn very important on coming out. 68's got a bit of a lead, but man, did you see that wiggle? The tires are definitely wearing out. Approaching Redneck Hill, both cars just loose. As we come down towards the banking, you see the 17's a little bit better at carrying momentum out of that last corner in the infield and onto the bank. And it's really paying off here. You can see him just quickly tearing away at that gap. And then the draft's just exponentially increasing it. There he goes again, looking on the outside down the back straight. Will he have enough momentum this time? Looks like he does. No. Oh, he does, and Mulder tucks in behind to get that draft. Now this is what we're talking about, that pass back potential. You see Mulder looking, just not quite enough to get back underneath him for turn 1. We're on the final lap, and these two are just going to go at it. Now Fox shuts the door on the 68. Just, I guess you could say that was payback for earlier. So these two just going at it this final lap. This is the one position that's just really just up for grabs as we come to the end. There goes your race leader, your Onam, there on the outside. Just kind of had this race all to himself. Speaking of which, he did take first, and his teammate Johan took a nice second place. So as we come back to this battle for third, Fox is just trying to keep the car together. I remember he was saying he was fighting just how loose the car got late in the race. Just trying to make sure he didn't overdrive it and spin it off into a wall somewhere. So now you got Mulder just running high, trying to get that run down the banking, get that little bit of extra momentum to catch the 17 as we come down towards the end. But again, as we mentioned and we saw throughout the race, the draft here is extremely important, and Boulder is using every inch of that draft. Goes in and out just to time it right to make this make his last ditch pass here. So as we come down the last bit of the final straight, and it's Mulder taking third away from Steve there in the 17. And then here back in fifth, Mark was able to hold on to it despite Horsley putting up a fine race, taking 6th place. So overall, to start things off for the series, you can see Iro sitting there with 20 points, Johan taking 17, Mulder with 14, Steve with 13. Mark had 12 points, but because he qualified so well, it ties him for 4th. Horsley took an 11, Scott took 10, and Giuseppe took 9. So join us next week. We'll be at Summit Point on the 27th of June. We look forward to seeing everyone there. So until next time, keep it between the lines.